Hey, what is up, tech heads? Dalton and Cloud here. Today we have another refresher course to go over with you. This time it's going to be on CompTIA. Again, surprise, surprise. So this time we're going to go over the changes for the Security Plus. I know I'm a little late to the party on the refreshment from the 501 to the 601, but we're going to tackle it anyway. Just give you the update on what changes have happened since the last time we covered this topic. But before we begin and get into that, if you could go ahead, hit that subscribe bell and then tap the notification icon so you could get future updates for videos like this as they come up. I really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. All right, so we're over here first to look at this article made by Patrick Lane back from August of 2020, just to go over kind of what the differences were going to be. Now, this is before the actual exam came out, so just keep that in mind, or as it was coming out. So kind of go over first off what IT jobs could be related to Security Plus. Now, a lot of the time, if this is one of your first certifications and you don't have hands-on experience, you will hop into a help desk role. From there, you're just going to ask to shadow someone from the security team. Now, you're not going to do that right away. You're going to work on the job and perform well for the first 6 months or so. But then you'll ask either to, if you guys have a NOC or if you have a networking team in-house, or if you have a SOC or just a security team in-house, you're going to just, bring up to your manager, hey, I've been performing really well. I already have my Security Plus. I know the intricacies of what goes into security in either a home office setup or whatever environment you're in. So you just want to know if you could shadow someone from one of those teams, get more exposure to those topics. And then not only are you putting yourself up for a possible candidate, you're also showing how hungry you are and ready to enter one of those roles. And then you could prove that you actually have some competency in that subject. So just putting that out there, because a lot of the people who go for these exams are newer to IT generally. So they think they're just going to get a security analyst job or a networking analyst job right away. You can, but it's rare. Usually you're going to find a help desk role first, help desk analyst or support role first, and then move into one of those other roles. So here are the domains for the 501 and here are the domains for the 601, and then we're going to go over the differences. So the 501, this is the exam that I took, so this I will have to have updated here soon. It's threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities, technologies and tools, architecture and design, identity and access management, risk management, cryptography, and PKI. So threats in it, the first domain, threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities, that was for 21%, technologies and tools for 22%. So these are going to be like the bigger chunks, or were the bigger chunks. Architecture and design, 15%. Identity and access management for 16%. Risk management for 14%, and cryptography and PKI for 12%. If I remember correctly, there wasn't that much for cryptography on my particular exam. There was probably like 1 or 2 questions. But again, it's belated now, so but yeah. So going forward for the 601, what are the domains? How much are there for each domain? So attacks, threats, and vulnerabilities, 24%. Architecture and design, 21%. Implementation, 25%. Operations and operations and incident response, 16%. Governance, risk, and compliance for 14%. So again, it's not really in the first two domains. It's kind of spread out in the first three domains for the big bulk of it. So threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities still going to be a big hitter. Architecture and design is still a big hitter, and implementation is also another big hitter for what they want you to know going forward. And the reason these domains change is just because, you know, especially in security, things change over X amount of time, so they need to have these exams updated to be more concurrent with recent events, recent activities, and what goes into that sector. And then going down here, you just could see more in-depth detail on the exam objectives. So attacks, threats, and vulnerabilities. The description for this includes attacks, threats, and vulnerabilities from IoT and embedded devices, newer DDoS attacks, and social engineering. Architecture and design, what that includes is coverage of enterprise environments, reliance on the cloud, which is growing quickly, as I certainly know and could tell you, within organizations, transition to hybrid networks and on-premise cloud. So hybrid networks just means generally there's two definitions for hybrid. So like it used to be hybrid was just on premises, on-prem or in person, and then also it wouldn't be, you know, in the cloud. But recently hybrid, another definitions that come out is just hybrid cloud, meaning more than one cloud architecture. So keep that in mind when you see hybrid cloud. Yeah, here it specifically states hybrid networks, on premises and cloud. So then next domain definition is implementation or description. It includes a focus on administering, identity access management, basic cryptography, PKI, wireless, and end-to-end security. So this is kind of like a combination of some of the other subjects we had. Operations and incident response includes organizational security, assessment, and incident response procedures such as detection, mitigation, and basic digital forensics of incidents. Governance, risk, and compliance includes how to support basic organizational risk management, security controls, and teamwork to support regulations such as PCI DSS, SOX, HIPAA, GDPR, NIST, and CCPA. So that is this article in a nutshell. I will leave this in the video description so you could skim over it and just see if you could get some more information that might be beneficial to you. Maybe there were some subjects I didn't cover, but this is very helpful to know no matter what field you are in, if you are in IT. So it is a great entry-level exam to get. Next up, just a little bit more about the exam. So here's the exam code. As we know, it's a SY0-601 or TAC 601. Why is it different? So this just goes into the different changes from the 501 to the 601, the coverage, which we already went over, where people who've gotten Security Plus have worked. Well, they haven't had a hack in a while, so that's good. And then just a few of the other companies. And then the different roles people have gotten. As I said, most likely you're going to get a help desk analyst role, not a manager role. Unless you go the management route, then good for you. But anyway, TLDR. So the official launch date for the 501 was October 4th, 2017. And then should have the retire date. Yep, so the retire date is July 31st, or was July 31st of last year. And then the Japanese retire date is January 31st, so of this year. So they're both been retired for English and Japanese speaking. So great. The start date or launch date for the 601 was 2020 of November. I do remember it coming out. And it says usually 3 years after launch, so we'll probably see this retire coming up next year. So I am late to the party, but I just want to make sure we get you as much of this information as we can. Let's click on buy exam. Here we go. This is where we wanted to be. So we could close this tab. All right. So next up, we have this page. It is the CompTIA Security Plus purchase options. So you have the voucher itself, $381. You have the basic bundle, which includes the exam retake as well as the ebook. I got the basic bundle before. I never read their ebook. I took a look at it and I said that's nice, but I prefer the study method and the study resources I used, and I did not care for their ebook. That's not why I got the basic bundle. Personally, my company paid for me to take this exam and sit for this exam, but they did not pay for the add-on for the retake. So they paid the $381 and I had to pay the difference, but I did get the basic bundle for the exam retake. I didn't need it, as it turned out, because the resources over prepared me for the exam, but I still got that anyway when I sat for the 501. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're someone who just likes to have a safety fallback like me, maybe paying the difference for this may be more beneficial, but to each their own. And then also for the exam prep bundle, you get not only all the other previous resources from the basic bundle, but you also get the cert master practice for Security Plus. So I've heard mixed reviews for this. I've heard some people say they loved the Cert Master, some people say they hated it. And for the Security Plus as well. But to each their own. Just do your own due diligence when it comes to this. I personally don't think it's necessary. Even if you're getting questions from CompTIA, they're not always going to give you similar questions to what they'll have on the exam. So just keep that in mind when you're going through this. Next up is going to be, what instructors already have content for this. Considering it's already been out for a couple years, I hope a couple. So we're going to go to Jason Dion's Dion training page first. I personally used Jason Dion's PDQs, practice exams, and his videos. Now, he wasn't the only resource I utilized when I took the 501, but I could tell you hands down, he is a good reason why I passed. His PDQs as well as practice questions were phenomenal in getting me prepared. They were very descriptive. Amazing job him and his team do with when it comes to practice exams, practice questions, and PDQs. But if you buy it directly from his website, his prices are a little bit more money. So video course, he even says, same as on Udemy, and then practice exams, which is $99, and then full price $349. So there might be more stuff that you don't get on his Udemy course that might be beneficial for this. But if you're going to just get it for the video content and the PDQ, why don't you just go through Udemy? So you could either use the personal plan, which is $24.99 a month. You do get a 7-day free trial. So if you are a speed studier, hey, this free trial might just be the thing for you. But other than that, I'm looking at it from my account, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to copy this link. We're going to go to a private or an incognito browser or a private browser for Firefox. So $14.99. Great. So, when you're looking at these courses, the price may say one thing for me, but if you are newer or there's actually a deal going on that usually you could get it for 14, 15 bucks. If you already have a Udemy account and you don't want to wait for the next deal to come out, they just had a deal, so they'll probably have another one in another 5 or 10 days. But if you don't want to wait that long, make a new account, right? And then just go back and forth between the two for discounts. Or download Honey and get a discount applied when you're checking out. Okay, so I love Jason Dion. He has amazing stuff. I've used his courses extensively. You get 21.5 hours of on-demand video content. You get 2 downloadable resources, 1 article, 1 practice test, and this is just with the course and exam. And then if you get the extra practice exams and simulated PBQs, you get 6 practice exams, 80 question each. I don't even think I went through all 6 when I studied for this. Because I scheduled in advance to give myself a deadline, and I am a procrastinator. So I'm pretty sure I only went through 4 or 5 of his practice exams out of the 6. I know I didn't do the 6. I think 4, possibly 5, but I did not go through all 6. And even with just going through that, I almost got a perfect score. So, his practice exams are really in depth and explaining why you got the answer wrong. He just does a phenomenal job. And then, you know what? While we're on Udemy, we might as well go and bring it to the origin of studying for CompTIA. Mike Myers. So Mike Myers, he kind of is the grandpappy of CompTIA study material. He was one of the first. He pioneered this space. Does a great job. He's still around, still giving out resources. Him and his team with Total Sim Labs, they're still around. They do a great job. I know the first course I studied for any exam was A+, and Mike Myers was the first one there to help point me in the right direction. So this is a look at the course, see if it's for you. I personally don't study using his resources as much. That's just because some people could keep me awake and keep me going. Other people cannot, no matter how much coffee I take and ingest. So unfortunately, Mike Myers, his content doesn't really keep me awake, but I know plenty of people who've passed using his content, and he does a great job of packing content and making sure you are fully prepared for the exam. So in this particular course, he has 19.5 hours of on-demand video, 29 downloadable resources, lifetime access as well. So next up is Cryberry IT. I've been giving multiple offers for free trials at Cryberry. Cybrary. Next up is Cybrary IT. So I have been giving multiple offers for Cybrary IT. They do a good job. I've seen great testimonials from them. I just am not a fan for some of their resources. I mean, if you are going to study for any subject, I would study for cybersecurity because that's kind of what they're known for. They have other subject matters and as you can see here, more of the more advanced study subjects: pen testing, CISSP, Kali Linux fundamentals, ITIL 4 foundation. But if you're studying for ITIL 4 foundations, I would actually suggest Jason Dion over Cybrary, just because, again, Jason Dion and his team does an amazing job at anything they teach. And then Cloud Architecture Fundamentals, which if you're learning cloud architecture, I'd go to a cloud guru instead. But anyway, as I said, if you want to study cybersecurity or some more advanced topics of cybersecurity and pen testing, they're a great place to go. But specifically for this course, maybe is what I'll give Cyber. Maybe. Next up, Professor Messer. Oh wait, Andy has a Discord channel now, so great. You could go and chat with the community and study there. Um, Professor Messer, I can't say anything more. Like he has amazing content. Go check out his YouTube channel if you want free stuff. Otherwise, his content's pretty affordable. Um, he does an amazing job at anything and everything he teaches. I You could go see all these domains here. I and you see the way he breaks it down. He offers everything he does, or all the videos he offers that are paid for. You could probably find he's taught it at least once for free. So, you know, you don't need to pay for it, but you're going to get a better experience if you do. So here's kind of a breakdown. If you just want like a little PDF of the course notes, $25. If you want practice exams, is $25. If you want the notes and exam combo, it's $40. Audio course, $59. Success bundle is $100. So more expensive than say Udemy, but you know what? As I said, he just does an amazing job, and you're probably not going to go wrong going with Professor Messer. Next up, CBT Nuggets. And yep, they have updated their stuff as well. Keith Barker is back, Bart Castle is back, and Bob Salmons is here. So Bart and Keith, I mean, I love their content. They do an amazing job. I follow both of them personally on my YouTube channel. So they are amazing at what they teach. They keep things entertaining and they keep things lively. So I haven't personally studied with them for the updated course, but I'm sure it's just as great as the 501 that I studied with them. So give that a look, but I will tell you CBT Nuggets is going to be a little bit more expensive. It's going to be $60 a month. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this subject. If you plan on, completing the exam in a few months, like a month or two, maybe a month, maybe it's worth it. But just keep that in mind depending on what your budget is and if you're paying for it, if someone else is. So, as I said, there's kind of just two resources I used primarily when studying for my previous sit with the Security Plus. It was Jason Dion's courses on Udemy, his practice tests as well as his course, and Daryl Gibson's book. And you know what? Daryl Gibson did an amazing job at preparing a book for the 501. And I'll be darned if he didn't do it again for the 601. So, Daryl Gibson, you are a saint, a gentleman, and we love you for it. So, if you have not read his book, I suggest you get yourself a copy. You know what? $34 is expensive. If you have a tablet, or even if you could just get, Kindle on the computer, $10 for a Kindle, the Kindle version of the book. That's not expensive. You could download it today, right? You don't need to wait for shipping fees or for shipping. Grab it today if you are someone who prefers like that, the smell of the book, the having the spine of the book in your hands. Great. Get yourself a hardcover, get yourself a paperback. If you don't care about all that noise, go ahead. $10, grab yourself the Kindle version of this book. This is one of the staple resources you need to have when you're studying for the Security Plus. I guarantee it. Next up, Pluralsight. Of course, Pluralsight had their course updated for the 601. So, this is amazing. This is rare here, actually. They have all of this subject in all the different domains taught by one instructor. So this is great. I highly suggest this because whenever they have a course taught by one instructor, it's phenomenal. Whenever it's broken up with different instructors, it's usually terrible. So considering I have not studied with Christopher Reeves before, but I can almost guarantee Pluralsight, since they did the merger with A Cloud Guru, or they bought out A Cloud Guru, their content's been doing nothing but going up. So this has got to be great. Uh, but again, I've not studied for this or used this, but you could get 33% off right now to save. But also, you could usually get a free trial for Pluralsight. So I really suggest that. And also for Pluralsight, a lot of libraries offer free membership for Pluralsight. So, go to your local library, see what they offer. And when you're sitting for your exam and you're buying your voucher, be sure to grab this code. Whether you study with Pluralsight or not, grab this code Plural10 for 10% off your CompTIA exam. And then, of course, I got to give some local love to IT Pro TV. So, I love the instructors at IT Pro TV. I love the courses, and they just do a phenomenal job. So, particularly for this, you get 28 hours and 48 minutes worth of content. Usually, IT Pro TV will try not to kill you with PowerPoint, like no death by PowerPoint, but they do have a lot of content that they go over. They want to make sure out of anything you are overly prepared for this exam. Most of the time, it is going to be in the form of, like as you see here, there are virtual labs for this course, and there are practice tests. I'll get into why that's an issue later. But usually they have everything in video format, which is fine, but I don't like that. I like things broken up quite a bit. That's why I did like, Jason's videos, and then the practice exams, and then the book, right? You want to break it down so you're not getting bored and just like getting dribble at the end of the day from just, video after video after video. You kind of want to break it up into different segments, go over different subjects, read it, listen to it, do it, that kind of thing. Okay. And then we go over to the pricing plans. So the reason I said that was going to be an issue for the labs and the tests is just because, they have their standard fee, which isn't bad. It's $30 a month, but then the premium with the labs, tests, and more for $50 a month. So, this is great. If you are newer to IT, you don't really have any, maybe you're an introvert, maybe you don't have anyone to reach out to. They also offer learning coach services where, they'll help you actually, hey, so what do you want to do? Right? What are your goals? And then, they could kind of guide you the right path for what exams you may want to sit for, what resources you want to use. And then, here are some practice tests and virtual labs along the way. Now, if you're in that predicament, that's great, but if you ever want help or want some advice, you could go follow me on either Twitter or Facebook, and then send me a message, and I'll be able to point you in the right direction if you need help with that as well. And I will not offer you a surcharge. But anyway, those are all the resources that have been updated for the 601 for the Security Plus. And that is the differences between the 601 and the 501. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the next video. Enjoy.